All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mary Hynes. I'm the chair of the Arlington County Board, and I am so thrilled to welcome all of you here this afternoon to be part of this wonderful announcement today. In what should come as no surprise to anyone here today, Arlington's business community is changing, and we are so excited about it. No longer are we relying on big government agencies to fill our office buildings. We are now in the midst of growing a new Arlington business community, one that includes tech firms, software developers, and other fast-growing entrepreneurial businesses. We know, they know, our citizens know they are the businesses of the future. And nowhere else in Arlington is this more true than right here in Crystal City, where we're seeing a true technology hub emerge. One that's where big companies and startups both know that if you want to connect and you want to make an impact in government, this is the place to be. It truly exemplifies the ideas of partnership, something that we in Arlington have prided ourselves on for many, many years. When the various sectors come together, public, private, and university research, we all know that amazing things have happened, can happen, and will happen right here. The potential to help startups and larger businesses tap into the resources of our universities and the government agencies that are located here is leading the way for the creation of an unparalleled tech community. And we don't have to look any further than some of you and the folks over here to see what the potentials are for those incredibly effective partnerships to emerge. And before I move on to the announcement, I do want to take a minute and say thank you to our governor, Terry McAuliffe, for his incredible and ongoing support for everything Arlington. We know you like the rest of the Commonwealth too, but we like having you up here, Terry, so thank you very much. Yeah, I know. I'm really excited. And I have to also say thank you today on behalf of the board and government here to Mitchell and Shearer and to Vornado for continuing to push us on how to diversify this economy and to build a tech ecosystem that we think is going to be pretty unparalleled on the East Coast. So like you, I can't wait to see what's coming next, all the pieces and parts of this this incredible new announcement, this incredible new partnership. And so I'm going to turn it over to Evan Burfield, who really needs no introduction, of 1776 to tell us all about it.
Mary, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Evan. Thanks.
Well, thank you all for coming. And Mary, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. So I'm actually a Virginia native and graduate of the Thomas Jefferson High School, just a few miles from here. And in fact, my parents are here today because they live about 3 blocks just down Crystal Drive.
Where are they?
Yeah, do you want to raise your hand, Dad, Diane? And but there's more to this because growing up, my father was in government affairs for the Washington Metro system. He would lobby the Virginia legislature. And so when I was growing up, the dinner table conversations were about the intricate House of Cards-esque battles to get the first gas tax passed down in Richmond. And that's the thing about the DC region, if you spend time here, is this is a place that people have always come to try to tackle important challenges. How do we bring transit to reduce congestion? How do we improve our schools? How do we educate people better? And it has a tremendous collection of people who actually understand how you get things done in these industries. When Don and I launched 1776 almost exactly 2 years ago, I think we had a 2-year anniversary tweet last week, it was in partnership with the District of Columbia, and it was around a vision for turning the Washington, D.C. region into a true epicenter to bring together startups from all around the world that were passionate about applying these amazing digital technologies, this amazing venture capital model, to solving the kinds of problems that people have always come to this region to solve. In the past 2 years, we have accomplished together as a team more than I think we could have ever imagined when we launched. Every day, the 1776 team works with 270 incredible startups until now at our campus downtown, and they connect them up with all of these incredible resources from across the region. Today, we are pleased to announce that 1776 is expanding, and Crystal City is the next front in our effort to connect 1776 is global network of startups with the world's most important agencies, corporations, institutions, and the incredible talent and mentorship that exists all around us in Crystal City, in Arlington County, and in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're coming to Crystal City as part of an effort to forge really unprecedented partnerships with Arlington County government, with Vornado, that are going to create a stronger regional innovation economy, tear down some of these borders between Maryland, DC, and Virginia, and really unify the region to support startups. At 1776, our goal is to connect startups all over the world with the established corporations, government entities, think tanks, trade associations, mentors, investors who can help startups grow and scale regardless of where those startups are. Earlier this week, we announced a new partnership with Montgomery County that will give businesses, agencies, and research facilities frontline access to our most promising startups that can strengthen the county's economic standing and improve the quality of life for Montgomery County residents. We are thrilled to announce today that we have reached a similar agreement in principle with Arlington County, and could not be more excited that our startups will have the opportunity to partner with Arlington as a living laboratory to identify exciting new ways that government, corporations, and startups can work together. With our entry into Crystal City, 1776 is now extremely well positioned and highly focused on bringing together all of the tremendous assets in the DC, Virginia, and Maryland region to create one of the world's most important and cohesive startup and tech communities. Over the past 2 years, we have traveled the world. For any of you that follow any of the 1776 team on Facebook or Instagram, you know literally the extent to which we have traveled the world as part of our Challenge Cup to identify the most promising startups and bring them to Washington, D.C. as part of our Challenge Festival. When we go talk to those startups from all around the world, they don't differentiate between Crystal City or Bethesda or K Street. Their question is whether they should be basing their startup in the Washington region, in the New York region, in the San Francisco region, or possibly in Austin. And our job is to make sure that they think about the DC region before they think of any place else, sort out the details later. These startups know, whether they're headquartered in DC or Tel Aviv, that from the standpoint of innovation in entrenched industries, the Washington metro area is where they want to come to drive change in an industry like education, energy, health, or smart cities. It's time that all of us start viewing it the same way. As we look at the region, there's a lot of work to be done as far as unlocking the assets that it provides. And we do need to start tearing down some of these boundaries from an innovation standpoint. From NIH and MedStar and Bethesda to the Pentagon and Lockheed Martin, Booz Allen, and other great resources here in Crystal City, 1776 is helping the most promising startups from around the world to tackle important challenges. As startup-driven innovation increasingly focuses on 1776's core industries, education, energy, health, smart cities, transportation, the potential to help startups scale by tapping into the talent, expertise, corporations, and government agencies in Crystal City, Arlington County, and Northern Virginia offers us a powerful way for 1776 to support even more world-changing startups. We spend time in cities all around the world that are being startup ecosystems. All of them claim to be the next Silicon Valley. From the beginning, the vision that Don and I and so many others have worked very, very hard to create is that we don't, in fact, want to be the next Silicon Valley. We want to build something that is unique and different and special. We want to be the place that startups and innovators come to actually do things that are profound, to actually drive innovation that matters. That is the promise that's in front of us. We are so excited to be here today with you, and I'm now going to turn it over to my co-founder, Donna Harris, for the rest of today's exciting news.
Thank you, Evan. Well, today is certainly very exciting, and we would just want to thank Arlington County. We want to thank the team and the entire team at Vornado, as well as Governor McAuliffe, for the support that you've given us. As a Virginia resident, my husband, raise your hand, and I actually live in Virginia. I am particularly excited about today's announcement. So, as we heard yesterday, as we had nearly 50 of the world's top tech CEOs over to 1776, after, by the way, a stop at the White House, they reiterated a belief that we hold dearly, which is that every industry on our planet is going to become digitized. And as we do that, startups will inevitably need to connect and collaborate with government to rethink entire industry structures and the regulatory frameworks around them. Our entire region sits as the center of that future. This is the promise that can potentially drive our innovation economy as the centerpiece of the global innovation economy. The momentum 1776 has built over the last 2 years is stunning. Today, the brand, and more importantly, our work to drive innovation in areas that matter, areas that have so far been left out of the internet revolution, it is recognized worldwide. The t-shirt, which I'm proudly wearing today, you'll notice it does say Crystal City on it, is recognized now as we travel around the world. Over the past 2 years, we have built a global network of startup hubs called the Startup Federation. And this includes partners in places like Austin, Chicago, and Dallas, but also places like Amman and Moscow and Berlin. Collectively, these partners work with thousands and thousands of startups every day to help them grow. We all agree that we need to do our best work locally to support our own communities, but we must also work together as one global community so we can transcend geography. In doing so, we can identify the companies most poised for breakout growth and mobilize our collective networks to help them scale. To realize this vision, tools, data, insights become critical. We must be able to identify those companies quickly, have insights and information about them so we know what they need, and the connections in the networks to help them scale. So today's announcement is an important step in making that vision a reality. And we're extremely pleased to announce today that 1776 is acquiring Disruption Corporation. We're thrilled to have the Disruption team joining the 1776 family, and we look forward to integrating their products and platforms that they have spent the last years building into the 1776 vision. Additionally, 1776 will assume responsibility for the Crystal Tech Fund. We look forward to putting the full resources of our entire global network behind supporting the companies that Disruption and Crystal Tech Fund have invested in. In addition to acquiring Disruption Corporation, we'll be opening a new campus here in Crystal City in partnership with Vornado. The new 1776 Crystal City campus will provide both startups and partners with yet another hub for innovation. As we say for our campus in DC, just blocks from the White House, here we'll be just blocks from the Pentagon. And we'll also be in the midst of incredibly important organizations like Booz Allen and CEA who do business with and understand how government operates. 1776 and Disruption have always shared a common vision around supporting startups and the changes happening in the private financial markets. By bringing Disruption into 1776, we're accelerating our ability to support startups, corporations, and private investors with game-changing tools. As we've been building this global network of startups and incubators, who, by the way, impact millions of lives in entrenched industries, our goal has been to figure out how do we accelerate the pace of the connections we're making? And how do we deliver on that more effectively? And as we've begun to explore that and work on that, Evan and I also have a long friendship with Paul Singh. And as we started to sit down and talk about our vision and share and catch up on his vision and progress with Disruption, it became increasingly clear to us that our projects overlapped a lot more than we expected. And it became clear that by joining forces, we could really, truly make a lasting impact on our region's innovation economy. Paul Singh and the Disruption team have a transformative vision for the way data will fundamentally change capital markets, turning that vision into reality with products like Dashboard and Hubble. By bringing the Disruption team and the technology into the 1776 platform, we can better support our corporate partners with insights and tools to enable them to separate signal from noise, better identify and rapidly accelerate the growth for startups, and help drive innovation across the entire global economy. Over the next few months, we will be announcing additional new programs at our Crystal City campus that will take advantage of the unique networks and resources that are afforded by being here in Crystal City. We would like to thank leaders like Paul and Mitchell Shear for their incredible vision in building Crystal City into what it is today. We are incredibly excited to welcome Paul, Fred, and the entire Disruption team into the 1776 family. And with that, let me introduce Paul Singh.
All right, thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Donna and Evan, for those kind words. I'm going to keep them close to me because nobody ever says nice things about a VC, I think. But Anyway, look, over the last 2 years, I've been really proud to work with Mitchell and the rest of the Vornado team to reinvent Crystal City. I too actually grew up just right over there and went to Bishop O'Connell in Arlington and never really left. Even when I lived in California, I spent more than half the year here. Anyway, Crystal City, as I was growing up, was really a place where large corporations worked on really important problems. And so coming here, one of the things I'm incredibly proud of is that we've been able to layer kind of a new layer of startups within that frame. And I guess the best way I would say it to you is that I think whether you're an entrepreneur inside of a Fortune 500 company or an entrepreneur with your own company, there's no more productive place you could be than Crystal City. And so a little side note, actually, Donna or Evan talked about starting the company about 2 years ago. Interestingly, I think we both started our companies, I think about a day apart. We filed our paperwork without realizing that 2 years ago. And so it's kind of neat that we're here now 2 years later. But what we set out to do is to build tools and help investors make smarter decisions as they invested in fast-growing technology-enabled companies. And so that's been great. And I think when Donna and Evan and I sat down, we've been sitting down for years now, kind of talking through things, and over the years got even more and more. And I think over the last couple of weeks and months, we started talking more and more. And I think the one meeting that really comes to mind is we were sitting in a room with a whiteboard, and one day it was like, hey, why don't you draw your business on one side, and I'll draw mine on the other. Nobody look. And then at the end, we looked at it, and no kidding, it was just kind of like, hey, you're doing a lot of that stuff, and I'm doing a lot of that stuff. Let's figure out how we do it together. And then the rest of it was actually that was probably the hardest part. Everything else was easy. Anyway, we're gonna change the way that the tech industry does business. We're gonna help founders find the resources they need to grow their businesses even faster. We're gonna give investors the resources they need to find the companies that are going to make them a ton of money. And in both of those cases, we're going to help create a lot of jobs and help a lot of people in the process. So simply put, it's going to be a win-win. It's going to be a win for Virginia. It's going to be a win for DC. It's going to be a win for Maryland. And so I'm going to be joining Donna and Evan, and our whole team will be joining immediately. We're super excited. We're actually, for our remote team, we're already booking tickets and flying them in now and trying to get them to get integrated. But we can't wait to start working together. In fact, we already are. And with that, I want to introduce someone I consider a friend and a mentor, Mitchell Shear, the president of Vornado Charles E. Smith. Mitchell, over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is just super exciting day. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really excited about our new partnership with 1776. For those of you who may not know, we really think of Crystal City as a home to innovators for really a long, long time. We think of our indigenous tech companies like Boeing, Lockheed, Booz Allen, and on. We've had our creative companies here, like PBS, and I know Barbara Landis is here today. I want to recognize her. And we have our CEA folks, and Gary Shapiro is here. I want to recognize him. And then we have our innovative chefs that have been joining us recently. So Jose Andres is here, Spike Mendelson is here, and I want to recognize Rob Wilder, Jose's partners here, who's here with us today as well. So with that as a base, really, just over 2 years ago, we really started thinking about innovation in a broader way. Got some planes here. How do you like this weather today, folks? I can't believe I'm like the fourth or fifth person speaking and no one's mentioned it. So I think Terry and Mary, we thank you kindly for the fantastic weather here today. We're not sure where we would have been without that. So really, when we started this 2 years ago, we think now looking back at it, I think of it as sort of Crystal City, Tech 1.0. And we were shaping a new hub for creatives, makers, and startups. And as you've heard today, we brought together a bunch of significant leaders, including Paul Singh. We've got our friends here who are operating now for almost a year from Tech Shop. Isabella, the manager, is here somewhere. Raise your hand. All the way in the back. Thank you. Our friends from WeWork, and while they're not here today and not yet open, I think you've heard that they're opening up a innovative social living concept later this year. It's under construction as we speak. And then Vornado itself embarked on a design lab initiative, which we were pretty excited about as well. So then if you think about that as sort of as layer one, more recently, we started to build both our creative community and the indigenous community and sort of thinking about the intersection between the two. So in December, we welcomed our friend Jeff Orzum from Eastern Foundry. Jeff's here today and has an accelerator for government contractors. Let's recognize Jeff. Another important move. In February, we opened up, and I think you should all stop on your way down, what we call our porch now to Crystal City. Jeff Dawson and Peter Bain's concept opened a new High Line downstairs, and what we all think about it is a really true community-inspired third space, and it's really been a lot of fun, and people have been hanging out there. And then also this summer, we're going to see in the early summer an exciting concept from Local Motors opening up here in Crystal City. So that's all exciting, and it's really an unparalleled community that's taking shape here. So then we think about it with those building blocks, and that brings us forward to where we are today, and we're really ready, and we've really refined everything into Crystal City 2.0. So when we think about partnerships between startups, corporations, and government, we think that's really going to help redefine the future of innovation. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Crystal City is the natural center of gravity for this kind of collaboration here in the region. So super, super excited about that. So why do I say that? With our deep base of agencies here, major corporations, a growing startup community, and that community is absolutely going to be accelerated even more and in a profound way by 1776. Let's give it up again for 1776. So with their help, with their guidance, with their curation, we're going to see companies are able to innovate in new ways, scale up, and flourish here. And really, this is just a new beginning. We think that we're just beginning to get at something really special here. So we're going to continue to add more layers to this 2.0 story in the coming weeks and months ahead. And there really are a number of initiatives just not ready for announcement today that we hope to unveil in a very, very short order. So it's really exciting. So it's with great pleasure that I want to thank the governor. I want to introduce Terry McAuliffe. He's just been a huge champion of innovation and growth here in the Commonwealth and for our vision here in Crystal City. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, the Governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe.
Thank you, Mitchell. Great to meet you, buddy. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Now, I know Evan talked about Silicon Valley and all those other places. Forget that. Look behind me. Can you get this anywhere else in America? No. So I want to welcome 1776. Thank you, Don and Evan, for making this very important announcement. It was just a year ago that I was in the building. I came by for the kickoff of Paul's company just about a year ago. It's great to come back a year later and see this dynamic growth. For all of you who are Virginians, this is really a historic moment, and it would not have happened without the effort of Mitchell Shear. And I want to thank Mitchell, who has transformed. He had to deal with defense cuts and see businesses move out. Some people would have just stood back and wondered what to do. He didn't. He got to work and said, we are going to transform Crystal City. And by the time he's done, you can forget Silicon Valley, you can forget everywhere else. Crystal City will be the hub of innovators and startups in the United States of America, buddy. And I want to do what I can to help you. And Mary, to Arlington team, and Jay and Libby and Walter, thank you for the great work. Yes, Victor, I too am expecting great things out of you, buddy. Let me tell you right now. But listen, Virginia's on a roll. You've all seen the news. I talk every day about building that new Virginia economy. We have to replace defense cuts. Virginia is the #1 recipient of Department of Defense dollars of all 50 states. That's great news when they're spending, but when they cut back, it means we have to bring in new businesses. And so far in my first 14 months, we have done about 355 economic development projects. We have brought in over $6.45 billion of direct investment in the Commonwealth. Not that I'm counting, but that is double any governor in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And folks, I'm just warming up. Just an appetizer, what we got ahead of us. I announced the other day the lowest unemployment in 8 years, 4.7%. Low taxes. We have not raised our corporate tax, folks, in 33 years, and we're not going to raise them. Business friendly. We have all the assets with our university, our infrastructure, all of the military assets, the largest naval base in the world. And now we have the startups. We have the high technology field. In Virginia, as you know, 1 out of 10 of our employees today in the Commonwealth of Virginia are high-tech workers. We have 17,300 high-tech businesses in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It equates to about 290,000 jobs. And so, folks, the Commonwealth is cooking. We're cooking with all the work that all of you folks are doing. I want you to know the government, anything we can do to help you. We just increased our R&D tax credit. We have a refundable R&D tax credit. Very few states can do it. We want to help you get started. We want to lend you money. We want to invest. We've got grants. Folks, we got it all. Forget those other 49 states. The Commonwealth of Virginia is the future. Thank you very much, and honored to be with you. Am I doing a toast? The best part, I'm supposed to do a toast. This is so hard being governor, things I have to do.
Are we all going to fit? Whoa, careful. I did the same thing, except I almost spilled it on him. That would be a nice photo op anyway.
Well, let's give a toast to fitting, honestly, to 1776. And when you think about it, coming here to the Commonwealth of Virginia, which was the first in 1607, when those 3 ships came over, it started out as a stock company from London, which was the birthplace of the United States of America. So it's fitting that we welcome and honor 1776 to the Commonwealth of Virginia. Welcome and toast to 1776. Cheers.
Salud.
Yeah.